Hey everybody, I hope you're doing great. What a lovely way to end this weekend and to really kick off the month ahead. I enjoy these collective readings a lot, and it's great to see so many people here already. A lot is coming through today. I actually have like a triple totem that I was meditating on this morning. I did an early walk with Apollo and looked at the moon. It was so beautiful today. I'm sure many of you, especially those of you that are sensitive and intuitive, have been feeling the energy of the moon. For those of us that are really in tuned with sort of like our dream meditations or our lucid dreamers, I've been receiving so many messages this week and especially last night. So we're going to talk about that today. This is a very special, I really love doing readings on a full moon or a new moon. But with these collectives, what I like about it is it kind of gets to take on whatever shape or form it needs to. We'll be focusing today on three major things. The moon itself, of course. We'll be looking at karmic relationships because I've been noticing them pop up across all signs this month. You know that I don't read relationships like most people do. This isn't necessarily about finding the love of your life. It's going to be looking at a key relationship in your life and figuring out how to sort it out. And with the karmic relationships, this may be someone that you've already met, or it may be someone new that's coming in. And what we want to really look at with the karmic relationships is what's the lesson, right? So that's what I care about more than, is she coming back? Is he coming back? Do they love me? When's the, that's all good too. But we first need to understand what the karmic energy is around key relationships this month. So that's what we'll be looking at in the center portion. And then because this reading is really on the precipice of April, it's just after the equinox, it's on the full moon and all this sort of energy of release and beginnings. That's basically what I want to start on, take a look at in the third portion of this reading, is how we can basically end old cycles and create new cycles. So we'll take a look at the moon, we'll look at karmic relationships, and then we'll see how we can set new things in motion. I think this is a really nice connection of energies and parts of our life. So this should be a great reading today. The only difference that I'll probably do is I don't necessarily do reviews during this, the mini reviews. I'll do something very, very short to kind of talk about the high level things, but because I'll be doing basically 3-in-1 plus a meditation, it will be a little bit different. We are going to start with the psychic information at the beginning, and I'm not going to waste any time into getting into that. One couple of quick notes, first of all, thanks for the super chats. I see the one for Apollo. He says thank you as well. I would like to, I'll address that first and foremost. The super chats are amazingly helpful in supporting the channel. It helps me continue to buy new supplies, and it just helps pay for the time that I'm here. So thank you so much for doing that. So if you'd like to do that, you can click this little button right here, the $, and I appreciate it. My moderators will try to thank you, and I'll put a little thank you when this is on replay. If you happen to be watching this after it's live, you can also show support through the applaud button, which is right by thumb up and thumb down. So either of these are a great way to interact when it's live or on replay. You can go to my website as well if you ever want to use PayPal. Just a quick note, I never message fans. There's some imposters out there. So the only way to interact with me is either through YouTube directly on a live presentation, Instagram live presentation, or my website. So I always like to remember or to remind people that it's only live sort of connections when we really talk. Thank you to my moderators for helping out. And I don't take questions during this because there's going to be so much information coming through. But because you have 3-in-1 today, you should receive a lot of insight and hopefully affirmations and confirmations. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, I'm really excited about this. So I'm basically looking towards the next 6 weeks. I'm reading this live on March 28th. But if you look at this in April or anytime this year, really, the way that my reading is formatted is if you show up, there's messages for you. And when you find it, the messages are valid. So this is kind of like a message in a bottle. Whenever you get it, it's going to be perfect for you. All right. You got a triple totem today, and it's because we're looking at 3 different things. We have the moon, hummingbirds, and ladybugs. So 3 of my favorite things here, especially hummingbirds and ladybugs. I've been seeing hummingbirds nonstop over the past week. For those of you that are really kind of in tune with nature totems, sometimes it's almost like they're chasing you down, right? So I've been seeing them hovering around and looking at me. And I had one the other day that for 2 or 3 minutes was just sitting there and buzzing around me and looking at me. So definitely some messages from that. And then the ladybug, because it's springtime and it has some really great messages around luck and positive and beneficial relationships. But let's start with the moon, since that was what I was looking at this morning as I was walking the dog. It was still dark out when I was walking him before dawn. And the moon I've been seeing in my dreams as well, and it's sort of like a compass, a wayfinding energy. Think of it as almost like our soul's GPS. What I was picking up on in dreams over the past week was that for some of us, it's felt like the GPS isn't working. I'm sure you've been in like rural areas or maybe out in the mountains, and if you're using your phone or some other sort of GPS device, sometimes it doesn't work. And then it's sort of like, am I okay? Am I lost? Am I found? Where am I? And there's that moment of feeling sort of turned around. And that was what I was focusing on because, of course, in the Rider-Waite-Smith cards, all of the ace cards will have a hand, either holding the pentacles, the cups, the swords, or the wands. And even in some of the minor arcana, you will see, like in the Four of Cups, for instance, there's that extra cup in the air floating and the hand is usually holding it. The universe is presenting us with new options. And this month, I felt like it was sort of whirling us around a little bit. So it's redirecting you. So you may feel it intuitively, like, am I on path? Did something change? What's going on? That's what's going on. Your guides and the universe and the powers that be are sort of like shifting your perspective a bit. So many of you feel lost, but you're being guided and redirected to pay attention to something. You can choose to go down that path or not. You can continue on the one that you're going, or you could kind of pause for a second and say, wait, is it this? So like I said, imagine that there's a gigantic hand kind of pointing you in the right direction. And when it's being moved, sometimes it's kind of like vertigo or that sense of being uneasy or nervous. Remember that any change can be exciting, can also be scary. There's no reason it can't be a little bit of both, but that exhilaration can also create this momentum where great things can happen for you. So the message from Spirit is you're not lost. You're just starting to find yourself, in fact. So trust your intuition and trust that compass. Trust that it is pointing you towards something bigger, better, brighter. Okay? So really, really, this is like the key thing that I've been leading up to, is that you're actually being redirected. You're not lost. You're finding yourself, or you're grounding yourself and understanding how you ended up here and what you want to do next. Lunar energy really speaks loudly through dreams, and I would say the clearest through dreams. So if you haven't done this before, keep a little pencil and paper by your nightstand, or you can use your phone, or you can dictate into your digital device, whatever you want to do. It's super important to just jot some notes, basically. And that's what I do. That's the basis of a lot of the cards that I have in front of me, are little tiny 1-sentence notes or 2 or 3 words. And this whole thing came from GPS, spinning around, lost, hand from Rider-Waite-Smith. And I was able to pull all of that together. You don't have to write like full thoughts or sentences, but just remember what you're seeing and picking up. And then in your later, if you want to journal about it, you can. And the journal is a key piece as well, because you can meditate on what you're seeing in nature, what you're seeing in everyday life, what you've picked up in the cards if you read, and trying to understand how this then relates to your life. That's how you become a better reader. That's how you become more intuitive. The important thing with a full moon is it's a chance to plan, to see, to envision what's possible. You really don't necessarily want to start something new. Sometimes we have no choice. It's more of a chance to look beneath the surface, just like you would see in the moon card. And I had a comment on Facebook, which I removed earlier. Someone was like, I'm sick of seeing karmic relationships or something. And I was going to write back, but I thought, no, I'll just delete it and I'll talk about it here. When you hide from things, it doesn't make it go away. So just because you're tired of something or don't want to deal with it, that's in fact exactly the time that you should deal with it. So what we're doing today is acknowledging it. So someone was triggered by moon energy there, when what they really need to do is dig deeper and go into the energy of discovery and revealing. And that's all the moon is. It's there to shine a reflected light on something and to help you see it from a different point of view. Have a contingency plan, by the way. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, because I feel like this month it's really important to have a plan B, to understand what's next, to not sort of be at the last minute trying to figure something out. Okay, so these are the main energies from the moon. This moon is falling during during Aries. So the Aries is like at the beginning of the horoscope. So that's why I think this is a great time to start something new. So as we look at maybe mid-April, this will be a good time for beginnings. So more on that in just a moment. Let's look now at the next totem. I didn't get a chance to look up images for all of these because I needed to just get the messages on paper, but you know what hummingbirds look like. They come through to remind us to look up, to move quickly, and to drink in each moment. Any of you that feed hummingbirds, you know they have a voracious appetite. They're constantly coming back. They fight each other, and it feels like they're constantly sipping. And when I think about that, it is drinking in the moment, drinking in the experience. And I think that, I don't know when we started to get this way, but maybe over the last century or something, we focused more on the achievement, right? On getting something finished or getting some sort of an award or certification, when in fact it is the process and the building up and the experience of it that we called in the first place. So the hummingbird comes in to remind you to sip and drink and enjoy each and every moment. It's a blessing. You are going to have to be moving and pacing yourself here. And what I picked up on was that mid-April for many of you is going to be a time where things are going to start to shift. So think of like the Wheel of Fortune, think of the Knight of Swords, think of the Chariot. Things are moving and you need to stay in control. All of those images are popping into my head as I'm speaking here. So I'm excited here. If any of you have had any stagnation in your life, just like Apollo's going back and forth in the background, many of you are going to find yourself in a place where you have to move a little bit more. Okay. So yeah, we'll pull Apollo up at the end. Thank you for the message there. Stagnation is the only thing that could be a block, or overthinking things as well. This is why right now, if you're watching this at the beginning of, I should say at the end of March or the beginning of April, do the planning now as we exit out of the full moon. And then once you get into the middle of the month and things start to pick up, you won't have to stagnate because you have that plan of attack, because you've taken a moment to take stock, to ascertain where you are, what you want again, and what's next. Hummingbirds, when they're around me, you can hear that sort of bzzz. It's even higher than a bee. You want to raise your frequency, elevate your thoughts, your actions, and your words. It's all of the above. So this is a time where you can't sort of just speak really motivationally, but then not follow through in your actions, or try to make something work, but then kind of be self-defeatist in thoughts. All three have to be there. Thoughts, words, and actions have to be on a higher sort of energetic level. This will help you be successful. Whenever I see a hummingbird, they go high, they force me to look up, they kind of move really quick. I'm looking around. Their energy is in that sort of heightened space. So they're definitely messengers from beyond, and they're trying to help us get to that sort of higher point of view. And as I said earlier, enjoy the journey. Every day is a blessing. Gratitude will help you open abundance. It's a lesson that Archangel Uriel taught me, and I never forgot it. As you open your heart, higher energies can work with you. Guides, archangels, personal angels, relatives, and ancestors, they can start to come in when your heart is open. So allow yourself to feel that sort of connection to the divine and gratitude for where you are in this moment. So thank you, hummingbirds, for all of that. They're also just a sign of spring, and I think of nature and how connected they are to nature as well. All right, ladybugs. Luck and fortune for sure. Anytime I see a ladybug, there's usually a change in fortune for me. In fact, this little precious dog in the background there, I adopted him right around, let's see, he's Taurus. So it was, yeah, April 20th, 23rd, 24th. So anyway, around that period, I saw ladybugs everywhere. And it was a sign that I was going to be, like, you have to actually get screened when you get a rescue dog. There's like an application process. You have to meet them. The person has to evaluate if you're going to be a good home and everything. And I wasn't sure if I would pass the test, but I saw ladybugs on the day of the final meeting and it worked. They said, "Are you ready? Do you want to take them home? Do you have your leash?" And it was like, yay. So for me, ladybugs are always special. And I've seen them many times when I think something's not going to work. Then I get a call or an email that something is going to absolutely come through, and maybe more than I thought. They're also very symbiotic. For those of you that have a garden and don't want to use pesticides for any reason, you can especially use these for aphids. their larvae are these little kind of like caterpillars, and they actually feed on the aphids, and they can completely get rid of aphids on like rose bushes and even succulents and things like that are very prone to getting outbreaks or infections with not just aphids, but other types of mites and things like that. So they're very good at a beneficial kind of way of getting rid of anything that could hurt your crops or hurt your flowers. So when I think about that symbiotic or natural relationship, that means that, you know, your friends, your family, and your loved ones this month, you have a chance to clear and clean. And you should also be looking for something where it's elevating, just like that relationship is there as well. So a couple things here. First of all, you can change your luck and open up an opportunity or a synchronicity this month. I believe that luck oftentimes gets confused with synchronicity. Synchronicity is a window that opens after you've done the work to create an opportunity. And if you're prepared, then you're lucky and everything kind of falls together. But the planning, the vision work, and the internal soul work this month that you're doing is going to help open up these moments of fortune or luck. So it's really a sort of synchronicity. Everything will just fall into place. So don't doubt yourself when that happens. Perception and expectation affect outcome. So look for positive signs and for signals. Don't expect things to fall apart. When you think, oh, it's probably not going to work, or, you know, I have bad luck with this, or this never seems to work the way that I want it to, then you start to call in those blocks. As I was saying here, relationships this month should be involving clearing, cleansing, and an upgrade. And they should be supportive, not sort of, when we think of an aphid, for instance, it basically sucks the energy out of something. So I love that a ladybug comes in and removes something that actually is kind of like vampiric. So this is a chance to get rid of those old cords, those old connections, and codependencies, basically. To me, the ladybug is the antithesis or the opposite of a codependent energy. So we're going to be looking at releasing old and holding space for new. And that's one of the things that we'll do with the karmic stuff. So whoever was afraid of looking at it, that one of the things that we're going to be doing today is actually letting go of some of those. I'm always interested that there are channels that focus solely on like twin flames or soulmates, because I feel like we have soulmates everywhere. And so I think it's much more fascinating to look at the karma of the soul connection and figure out, is it beneficial? And once you release it or understand the lesson, then you can decide if you want to stick with it and if there's more to learn from that partner or there's more to experience with the partner. So soulmates, it's not a big deal if you have a soulmate in your life. I think what many of you are looking for is a divine partner or that union that means a lot. The union can come in a place, it can come in multiple forms. It can be a friend, it can be a pet, it can be a lover, it can be a parent or a guardian. It can be platonic, basically, or it can be romantic. So let's look at your relationships overall. Let's look at the karmic energy of them, and let's see if they're healthy or not healthy. And that's how I look at relationships, and that's what we'll look at in the second portion. All right, now just some general messages that came through dreams, not through totems. Nonconformity is how you're going to be successful. It's like your golden ticket, to kind of think of Willy Wonka. Do something no one else can. This is your singular or unique approach, which I've been sort of preaching over the past few months. Hopefully it's kind of coming through because the guides keep showing it. When you stand out, you also kind of shine. So instead of doing what others expect, do what you need to do what you feel is right, do what is going to make the best impact or the best sort of, it's kind of like, what's your legacy? I always like to, when I'm coaching someone, talk about what's your legacy, what's your purpose. Everything should align to that. Once you can take one of these note cards and write down, before I leave this planet, this is the impact that I want to have. For me, one of the things is I want to elevate the collective consciousness or raise the collective consciousness. I like to have intelligent communications or conversations about spirituality. I like to demystify it, destigmatize it, and hopefully give you the tools to be empowered. Those are some of my bullets. But once you're able to kind of like put bullet points into what you're trying to do, then everything that you do, from the jobs that you take, to the classes that you study, to the relationships that you engage in, to what you decide to do later this afternoon, everything can start to file under those bullets. So one of the things that you can do during this full moon is to create some bullet lists of what it is that inspires you. what you hope the world looks like when you leave, if you can make a change, what your dream is for yourself. We should all be able to answer one of those. And if not, that's your homework, is to just take a leap, dream a little bit. Okay. Exchange of energy is something my guides wanted me to talk about. It's important to pay it forward, pay it back, and balance it out. So make sure that you repay or pay debts and honor your promises or your obligations. And if somebody does something for you, that it can just be thank you, but there has to be some sort of an exchange of gratitude, services, money, time, love, energy. Balance the scales out, okay? Otherwise, you create a karmic debt sometimes. And there's a difference between seva or service. Just, you can give because you want to give. That's cool. But there are other times where maybe someone's giving to you, but they expect something in return. Or if you're giving too much and you start to get angry about it, then you have to find a way to exchange and even out what you're doing, okay? So your performance is being watched. I literally got the word tracking. So this is a time to give more, not less. Those of you that are, maybe working off-site or wondering, does anyone notice me right now, or does it matter? This is pretty much for, I would say, students and workers right now. For the other people, I'll talk more in a second about how this could relate to you, but you are being watched and evaluated. So it's an important time to shine. If you do well, you'll shine. If you pull back, then that could adversely affect you. So this is a time to really expect that eyes are on you and then use that advantageously, okay? The rest of you that might be looking for work, retired, or wondering, what does this mean? When I think of tracking, I also think of going back to sort of the goal. How is everything tracking together? And so to me, it's kind of like a web. I feel like, so some of you have to go back to finding your purpose and seeing if you're tracking to that. Tracking was the word that I received. So either for those of you that are being observed, step up, help out. If you are retired or in a place to help people, maybe you can be the mentor or be the advisor for others. And for everyone else, it's really about figuring out, how does this fit? Is it tracking to my goals? Is it fitting with my template that I'm creating for myself? This is so specific, but I'm going to talk about it. I saw my guides informing me that it would be really beneficial to do meal preparation, something that I don't do for myself, but I might try now. Basically, this means cooking in advance. They said this would help you be able, especially with the middle part of the month, to be able to plan for some of the quick movement. So you could take a day of the week and make some snacks and meals, put it in the fridge, put it in the freezer. Maybe you make some dried things and kind of put that in plastic bags or whatever. Preparation, especially when it comes to your meal, your diet, your menu, basically. They were showing preparation would help with that. For those of you that are on the go, this can also help you with weight management and energy and just health in general, because sometimes if you're really busy, you're going to grab whatever's there. So yeah, it was very specific. It's something I've never really talked about before, but I saw packaging and refrigerating and freezing and all of that. So meal preparation. Then the other thing was just preparation in general, because they told me that you couldn't wing it towards the end of the month. So basically you need to have that contingency plan that I was talking about is important. The planning and researching that you're going to do now, hopefully, is important. And the more you prepare, the easier it's going to be, the lower your stress will be. So take the first 15 days of the month and get everything planned out, okay? Those are the messages that came through a lot. Like I said, triple totem, plus some additional dream messages, very specific. But let's now move along to the different readings that we're going to be doing today. We're going to start with the full moon reading, which is going to be very much like a general. I'll be looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny as a part of this one. And we'll see how the other ones go. I often pull the expanded forecast just to see how relationships or might affect different aspects of our life and whatnot. But let's just see where it takes us, okay? So good to see so many people here. If this is your first time, welcome. You're in for a treat. We're going to do a general. This is for everybody that's present today. I don't separate it out in signs, not for this collective. It's collective for a reason. But if you are interested in your sign-specific information, all of the ones, all the readings for April are on my channel now. I'll be announcing new dates for the next month in a couple of days. So if you want that sort of individual outlook, you can check it out after this reading. But today, the way that a collective will work is that everybody that's here is going to receive a message that they need. So because it's the new moon, I'll be using the sun and moon deck here, or sorry, the full moon today. I'll be using the sun and moon deck, so we'll see what messages are coming through. All right, I'm going to be quiet at this point and just allow for the cards to do the walking here. So give me a second to lay everything out. Welcome. Again, this is for all signs. We're looking at the full moon at this moment here. Messages for the collective for April. We'll look at relationships and starting new cycles later in this reading. And I'll put timestamps up probably an hour or so after this is done. All right, let's take a look and see what's coming through here for the collective. We'll start off with the catalyst. If you're new, the way that I use a catalyst is to kind of help you stay in the highest energy. It's an activator, just like the name implies, and it helps you basically stay out of trouble sometimes too, and call in the blessings here. So we have, I'm using a nature deck here. It says honeysuckle, domestic happiness, devoted affection. And it says, I will wind thee in my arms. This is too poetic to read right now. It's a William Shakespeare thing. So we're going to focus mostly on domestic happiness and devotion here. So relationships are part of what we're going to be looking at in this moon reading here and this general reading for April. And with the card in reverse, one thing that I would be saying is some of you are in a place where you might be putting others' happiness above your own, or you might be focusing on getting people's attention. And what this is really saying is the reverse should be true. That's why the card was reversed. You should be loving who you are. You should be prioritizing your happiness as well. There shouldn't have to be an either or sort of choice with this. So your happiness is others' happiness. And when you love yourself, others will love you as well. So don't basically focus too much on yourself or too much on others. It's a balance or a reciprocity, but definitely don't put yourself at a sort of deficit. So if you've been giving too much, or if you're always the sort of paternal or maternal energy, this is a chance to sort of go within, to heal, to love, to put some space for yourself. Meditate, have a bubble bath, take a day trip somewhere in the car. I know we can't really travel like we normally do, but just take some time to yourself and get back in touch with who you are and what you feel at the moment. We have the Prince of Cups at the center, which aligns to everything that I just talked about, and a beautiful dolphin on this card as well. So with the Prince of Cups, this is opening up to love, to creativity. If you've been in a place where you've closed off, I think a lot of us had to do that for protection over the past year anyway. This is a gradual reemergence and opening of the heart chakra. So the sensitivity is the one thing that you're probably going to feel first and foremost before you call in or deal with existing partnerships. So how do you feel? The card is upright. It tells me you should be okay, but just honor how you feel and make sure that that's part of what's being paid attention to right now. The other thing is love possible this month? Absolutely. The only thing that I'm noticing on this one is it does feel a little bit, of course, it's a knight card, but he's pulling the reins on this. Yeah, it looks like a dolphin. So let's just imagine it's a horse. there is going to be a little bit of a tug of war. I never pay attention to that in the night cards, but the way this is illustrated, it really pops for me. So who's pulling the strings? And does it feel like you guys take turns? Does it feel like this is something that you are enjoying? Are you moving in the same direction? Interesting thing when you think of a chariot or a knight card, if the horse or horses don't listen to you or have a mind of their own, then you're not going to get to go where you want to. So the other thing with this is it's definitely the redirection that I talked about. When I'm looking at this symbolic horse, in this case, the dolphin, he's pointing in the other direction. So this is the sort of like, hey, make sure that you're looking around a little bit and not losing track of something. Don't let your emotions get in the way, and don't ignore them either. So it really is about controlling your emotions and then honoring what you're feeling and making sure that someone in your life is on the same sort of energetic connection as you. The only place where relationships could suffer a little bit this month or be challenged is a divergence in goal or opinion, or maybe even higher purpose. It feels like some of you might be tugging in different directions. So slow down a little bit, talk and feel it out and see what makes sense for you. Generally speaking, Prince of Cups, very good card at the center. Love, creativity, and this sort of emotional breakthrough for many of you. We have an independent card on top of it. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Really nice card for those of you that might have been through a difficult 2020. This usually shows that you can land on your feet. It's abundance, it's independence, it's the ability to sustain oneself. And we have beautiful sunflowers here showing a sort of sunny outlook, which is what I was talking about before. When you start to expect that your luck has changed or will change, it does. When you expect that you are, I've even heard clients say that I'm cursed, and I think, no, don't say that. You're blessed, or you're going to, things will open up. When you say you have bad luck or you think that you're cursed, then you are, so don't. One thing to be careful of with the Nine of Pentacles is because of its fierce independence, sometimes there is a resistance on partnering. And so we have a really nice partnership, a very soft energy. The Prince of Cups, the King and the Queen of Cups, they're very nice energies to partner up with. And this can be a little bit isolated, a little hermit-like, even like King or Queens of Wands reversed-like. So with that, you want to make sure that you're opening up to opportunities and you don't miss something really nice that might be waiting for you. In the past, we have the Princess of Swords, which in this deck would be a page. And this page is looking at a butterfly and is also kind of like really, seems to me very empowered, knows what they want to do, is using communications, is taking advantage of the moment. So it feels like some of you stated a claim or decided that you wanted to do something, and this is the follow through that needs to happen here and now. Or you said, yes, I will, or I want this, or you raised your hand. So when I was talking about fulfilling or following through on a promise or a contract, this might be part of it for some of you. Maybe some of you want to speak up and you haven't had a chance, and this is reminding you, hey, this is something that matters to me. Use your voice. It's an upright card, so there's no need to sort of, doesn't feel like you have to be in anybody's face with it. It is just really about making sure that you use your voice. All right, let's go to the next card here. We have the King of Wands here. A great management card, the Boss card. King and Queen are pretty equal when it comes to that. I like that we have a unicorn here, which is all about being extraordinary, unique, not sort of being a cookie cutter, right? That is exactly what I wrote in the channeled messages. And this King of Wands is upright and is moving forward and is going straight into the fire. And so one of the things with the new, I keep saying that, with the full moon, is to look at what makes you afraid, or look what makes you kind of feel that sense of passion or joy. Look into the depths of the water. And that's why we had the Prince of Cups at the center. So the typical moon card is a dog and a wolf, the moon overhead, the water underneath, and there's usually like a scorpion coming out of that. People are sometimes afraid to look what's within that water, but you have to look and see what inspires me, what makes me afraid, and how can I use these things to be more successful? How can I get past my triggers? How can I lean on my strengths? And if I am triggered, what do I do to get past it? King of Wands is in control. So the only way to be in control is to get past fear. So that's one of the messages with this. And this king knows again, is confident and comfortable enough in themselves to just put it out there. So be bold this month. It's a time to show it sometimes without having to oversay it or overstate it. So we have a milder card when it comes to verbal communication, but when it comes to nonverbal or basically showing up and your actions are going to speak a lot louder than your words. So that's the important message with that. We have the Prince of Wands in the crowning position. So here's the interesting thing. This is kind of at odds a little bit, the message here. This is saying, know what you need to do, be bold. This is saying, though, some of you may then second guess yourself or overthink it. Don't. I think that once you've done the requisite work, you've got to move forward and commit to it, unless something really compelling comes in where you just have new information and it requires reevaluation. But if you've done the work and nothing's changed, you're on the right path. This could be your potential block. This is your blessing. This is your block. I used to do that when I did weeklies. So don't be blocked by your own doubt or fear. There could also be someone that's looking at age and experience could play a role here. So maybe you're a younger person that has a role of authority and someone older stepping in and challenging that. In this case, you want to stand firm. If you are older and you're trying to put yourself into a role where people think that you don't have the youthful energy or the insights, you want to lean into the experience and say, not only am I contemporary, but I also offer experience. And by the way, it's ageist to say what you're saying or do what you're doing. So standing your ground is a good thing with this, but don't get in your headspace too much, okay? And then we got the Two of Cups, which is love. And this is why we're going to be looking at it today. But when it comes to relationship energy this month, the stuff that we just talked about is super important. So don't let your emotions rule you. Don't let your sense of independence get in the way of a partnership that might be good. Stand your ground. Don't second guess yourself. And don't let a sort of gap in age or experience get in the way of something that could be good as well. So we have a king and we have a knight here. And so for some of you, there could be a slight age difference. It might be like 5 to 7 years, maybe up to 10 max, but it still seems like it's a pretty harmonious energy when we look at just the cross portion of this, because we have 9 of Pentacles, and literally this card at the top says gain. So you're gaining something from this. And then we have love and these wonderful sort of, I just see nice energies being exchanged here. So if you can get past whatever the sort of gap is in experience, maturity, age, I feel like things could be quite beneficial. If you're single and happy, retired, or not focusing on relationships, you still have the opportunity to heal existing ones or to call in an unexpected friend. This is still a developmental card. For business, it's a very auspicious placement. It means that you remember I was saying tracking, people are trying to find you maybe. I hadn't thought of it in that way, so they might be Googling you. How does your website look? Even if you're an actor or if you're you're trying to find a job, what does your website or CV or LinkedIn profile look like? People are looking. Make it look good. Put your best foot forward, right? It's like a date, even when you're kind of putting yourself out there for an interview or you're doing any marketing. So clean it up a little bit. If you haven't done it in a while, go in and redesign it and then take a look at your social media imprint. Make sure that if there's posts that just shouldn't be out there if you're trying to find a job or something, clean it up, clean everything up, put your best foot forward is what I see with the Two of Cups. An unusual message for it, but we're looking at this through the lunar lens. So it is about making sure that the reflection is good. As we look at your self or ego this month, don't focus on what others think. We love the Six of Wands. It's a fantastic card. At its core, it's saying you've got what it takes. People are interested in buying whatever you want to sell, but when it's reversed, it's saying sometimes you are trying to play to the audience or play to the collective. So the important thing for this one is to just be authentic. The message here also is you're fantastic, you're special, there's something great about you. Don't ever lose that, right? Don't ever lose what makes you you. So if you're in a job and they hired you for a reason and then they want you to change suddenly, That is weird. That's kind of like dating someone and wanting to change or expecting them to change overnight or something like that. You should take a second, a pause, and just sort of think, and what's going on here? Is this what I want? Do I want to change? Did I call this in so I could change? If you don't, then you're in the wrong place, and you might be ultimately successful but unfulfilled. Be fulfilled and successful. That's what the Six of Wands wants you to be, is to be joyful and to be successful. But Six of Cups popped into my head, so I think you should have both. Happiness and success. Success doesn't mean you have to be alone, right? Okay. We have the Two of Wands also reversed. Two of Wands is necessary for manifestation. So do you know where you're going? Do you know what you're trying to do? If you don't, the bullet list that I was talking about at the end of the channeled messages, this is where it plays in. This is where it's important to have some sort of a point on the destination. It's kind of like when we used to use a map and we'd put a pin in it, or you spin the globe and you stop it and put your finger somewhere. That's where I want to go. Then you figure out how to chart the path to that. So envision, plan, expect, manifest. All of those things are Two of Wands. When it's reversed, it's sort of this feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing. Remember, my guys are saying don't wing that part of it, because that is very much like playing slots or roulette or gambling a little bit with your fortune. And you don't want to do that. You want to be much more planned and much more the magician here. You want to be manifesting and calling it in. All right. Your one card that came through here in the general portion that you need to pay attention to is in hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the Seven of Swords. Everybody's favorite. Seven of Swords is really about accountability. And in this particular position, it's about being honest with yourself. Some of you may have experienced a lot of disappointment with other key relationships in your life where they just didn't show up the way they needed to, right? Maybe they said they were going to always stand by you, but when the going got tough, they left you alone. Or maybe someone said they were going to, give you some money or support or something, but they fell through. But the thing with this card is it's countered by what we got at the center. You are worth it. You are fine. You're going to be okay. This person fell out of your life or showed their true colors. Again, we're looking at it through the lens of the full moon. They reflected their true self. And so in that moment, you can release them. And then you can figure out, what is it within me that called the reflection in? Did I feel like I wasn't worth it? Did I doubt my own understanding or intuition? Did I somehow maybe not give enough back in another area of my life? How did I call this in? Be honest with yourself when you decide to do something. Are you overcommitting? Are you undercommitting? Are you doing less than what's expected? What's going on? It's about honesty, accountability, and then once you are transparent and honest with yourself and with others, the Seven of Swords goes away. And what I like about this deck is that all the swords are in the sky, because a lot of times we think ourselves into these situations. So it's not just like the Nine of Swords that can kind of be up above you in the clouds. All of the swords can be up there. So once you free your thoughts, then you free the energy. We have the Magician as the final card reversed, but let's look at this beautiful card upright for a second. I really like this one because it's about charting a course, which we've been talking about. And it's this lovely kind of connection between being sort of like a shaman, a creator, a magician, an astrologer. We are all kind of the magician. It's wearing every hat. You are every person, basically. The only thing with a magician reversed is spreading yourself too thin, second guessing your skills or ability, losing focus. So stay focused, trust and believe that magic and manifestation and possibilities, they can happen, and then follow through. March to the beat of your own drum. I always love it when I see a drummer on some of these different decks. I think that Light Seers also has it, but it's for like one of the night cards, like Knight of Wands or something. But for this one, definitely march to the beat of your own drum, and that is in alignment with what we talked about before, okay? Let's expand the forecast now. Again, we're looking at lunar energy, which is showing illusions and possibilities and revelations. We're going to be looking at health messages around this, and we have a healing card here. What a great one to come through. It's reversed, but it's still saying you can surprise yourself. So we have Holy Spirit energy, which is just divine. You don't have to get stuck on which religion it is. So divine energy. And then it says, expect miracles. And beneath that, it says, remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. I especially believe that last sentence, Spirit has your back. And when you expect that something can be better than others tell you it can be, you might surprise them and you might surprise yourself. This is especially true for those of you that might have had an injury, a recovery, or a diagnosis that it's difficult to deal with. Start to think, no matter what, I'm going to give 110% towards overcoming this obstacle. And how can I actually use this to grow and to thrive? So I'm actually just finally finishing up some physical therapy on an ankle that I had sprained last year. And I really wanted to go through and make sure that I strengthened my body. And it's feeling so much better. Last year, I wasn't sure. I was like, gosh, there's some pain. And I just, in my head, I thought, we're not going to do this. You're too young. You're not going to have this problem. And I started going to PT, and then it just kept getting better and better and better. And now I don't feel anything. So when you start to expect that you can overcome, even if you've had a few sprains, which I have, now I'm working on strengthening it, which is also prevention. So you want to look at, hey, I can overcome this. I can beat the odds. Because if you resign yourself to failure, you don't want to do that with your health ever. Always push for the miracle or the unexpected, or to go above and beyond what doctors or yourself, what you think is possible. So I like that card. Hold a really high bar and just think, I can do this, okay? Let's look at some other messages for health in particular. Being honest with yourself, as I said earlier. The Seven of Swords is the lie we tell to ourselves. It's not always necessarily someone else getting away with something. When it comes to health, it's just being accountable, just being honest and saying, yeah, I'm not ready to do this today. Or maybe that's not acceptable. I'm not ready, but I have to. So working through the sort of, it's like we have the little angel and lower energy on our shoulders, whispering to us, listen to the angel, dismiss the shadow. And that will help you a lot. Most of your cards are actually pretty good here. I see movement with the knight cards. We got 2 knights, so I like that. I like everything here. I would just say set some goals when it comes to overall health and well-being. Be honest with yourself. Stick to those. Some of you are actually stepping into the work of energy healing. So the Magician to me indicates a proficiency or a sensitivity or an ability to harness things like Reiki, but not only that. It could be a different form of healing. You could be working with sound. You could just be deciding to take more, I guess, a priority when it comes to your health and take better care of yourself. But healing is the name of the game here. And the Magician is able to heal itself. So call upon the divine as a part of this, because it definitely works for those of you that are already having a third eye open and maybe you felt, have you ever for those of you that are intuitive, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and feel like heat or fire in your hands? That's healing hands, that's healing energy. So if you have that, you can go and find a way to channel and develop it using, again, Reiki, shamanism. You can use Holy Spirit energy. There's different ways that you can connect to that source. So the source is opening. How do you want to channel it this month? If you're a musician or an artist, the Magician card then is basically about hearing or seeing or feeling something and then expressing it through a channel or medium. Okay, so we're all mediums, but it's just how are you going to be your own sort of unique medium this month? Let's take a look now at wealth. We have get the big picture, view from above. This is the hummingbird coming in and saying, make sure you're looking around. Don't lose sight of why you are in this moment and how far you've worked to kind of get to this moment as well. Don't give up. And with the big picture, some of you may have to play the role of it's almost like you're a journalist or inquiring about something. So dig deeper. An investigator, that was the word I was looking for. So if you have a tough question, get to the bottom of it. For some of you, there may be something that's going on at the workplace or with money in your life, and you have to bring it to the surface. And so do it if you need to. Just make sure that you have data to back it up. And this could be a revelation Could even be like an expose for some of you if you're kind of like an investigative type person. I think it's going to be good once that happens, but that's what I'm seeing with that. If you're looking for a new job, this month is good because we have the 9 of Pentacles here. Really put the time and energy into presenting yourself well so that when you value yourself, other people are going to be looking at that and see who you are, and it will kind of respond in kind. So it's a good month to go higher. If you, this is the other thing, if you've reached the glass ceiling, quote unquote, in a particular organization or even in a relationship, FYI, this is saying, no, that's not the actual end. So if the other person or the workplace that you're working at won't allow you to go higher, this is saying, well, then that means that this is a different part of the journey. We were seeing a tugging of war happening here. So for some of you, that tug of war is saying, yeah, I got to move in this direction. So it's time to go up. It's time to expand. And either the organization will allow you to go up, or the person will allow you to go up, or you're going to go on your own somewhere else. Okay. So moving up and out. The Magician card could also be a decision for you to learn something new, studying, integration, and you'll be successful at it. That's a very auspicious card as well for the outcome. So far we're looking good with health and wealth. Different perspective. If we're looking at this from the lunar perspective, you're going to get a new insight. This is why I want you to listen to other people. Make sure you keep an open mind. All right, let's look at love. And we have Sweet Soul Rising as the card. The card was reversed. So for many of you, this is a month of ascension. This can just simply be you going to a higher level. This could also be someone in your life that's going to trigger that awakening within you. And the soul awakening can happen, gosh, for so many different reasons. Sometimes you see someone and you remember, maybe it's an inspiration type thing, like mentorship can be an example. You hear someone speaking, maybe they're a poet, maybe they're an actor, maybe they're, whatever, they're making a difference in the world, and all of a sudden their voice and their words makes your heart, kind of skip a beat. That can be a soul awakening. Maybe you meet someone and you think, oh, I actually do want love in my life. I thought I didn't. And you have a heart awakening from that. Maybe you discover something, you're a scientist, or you're, you've been working on something and you have an epiphany and you decide, this is where my energy needs to go. I just feel like there's this soul awakening, and it's a very attractive energy for you. It's like the star. So do what you will with it, but know that when you get into that soul energy, others are going to want that. It's going to be very magnetic. And that's why we have the 2 of Cups here, a magnet card, just like the Lover's card. So love who you are, love what you're doing, honor the awakening. And if you feel like you're asleep, it's time to wake up. I think it was Pisces was the last sign I read for. I saw a bee that was asleep. It's so close to the collective reading. There's a little bit of a message there too. It's time to wake up. So the bees are waiting for the warmth of the sun sometimes before they get out there again. So it's a new day. It's time. Let's move forward. Other messages with relationships this month. Let me just I'll pull the camera down for a second. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen here. I'm seeing a past and a present relationship. So when we look at karmic relationships in a second, I definitely want to see what's going on between the Princess of Swords and King of Wands. But when we're looking at like here and now, it could be these 2 Knight cards or Prince cards. Looks like it's a lot more even, but it feels like there's some stuff from the past where you may feel a little bit less than, or sometimes it's kind of like when you go back home for a holiday break or something and you feel like you're the kid again, right? So this is reminding you that inner child you need to listen to, but you've also grown up. So own that maturity and don't let someone push you back into feeling like you're not worthy, okay? I think that's the most important thing. Okay, let's take a look at your final card. Destiny is more of a trajectory in the way that I read it. And we have the mountains here, and it's very moon-like here because we're seeing the reflection on the water. So it says, stand your ground. I also look at this and I see sort of like iceberg type imagery in my head, which is even with a mountain, you don't know how kind of like deep that mountain reaches into the earth. So stand your ground and realize that you have depth sometimes that people don't realize or they can't see with their eyes. So you need to sort of like pull that out. There was another energy that I saw in Pisces that I liked, which was the sort of rooting energy of a tree, where I felt like you were almost transforming into the tree and reaching up and seeing things and really feeling the connection. So you are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. And this is your chance to have a graduation, if you will, because I see this as 10 of wands, right? Usually you see someone going up the mountain or up the hill. So I think the best is yet to come, and it should get easier from this point on. Don't give up when you're at that last little point. Get up to the peak and then enjoy the ride or the trip down, okay? So you're at the top or you're near the top. Don't give up. All eyes on you, which was something that we were talking about. And yeah, I'm feeling good about that. We're not going to review all of the messages, or this reading would go on and on and on forever. The high points here, again, when we're looking at happiness and affection, I think it's important for you to feel like you're on equal footing. And that's the last thing that I was kind of talking about there. Things should feel more balanced than they perhaps have before. All right, let's move on to the next reading. This was for the moon. This was general. This was for April. As we look at relationships, this is a message in a bottle. This is whenever you read it or see it, I want to take a look at what's going on, karmic reading, how I can kind of help you now with this other partner or with partners that your own karma. So we're just going to look at it through a large lens and see what needs to come through. I'm going to use a different deck on this one. I'm going to go with Wildwood because I really like the nature images on it. We have the trees here, which I just talked about. So let's set an intention here to tune into messages around karma and relationships. I'll be reading for April, but this could work at any time when you watch this. All right. Again, don't get overwhelmed. I read relationships in a different light. I want to sort of see what's coming in to either help you or possibly push you back from something, what you should be focusing on. So it could be love, it could be friendship. We're going to let it take whatever form it should. When it comes to soulmates, though, soulmates are just karmic relationships. So I'm really trying to get to the karma here. What do you need to focus on karmically this month? So essentially, this is love, but a very different way. I don't do what other readers do. So I'll keep shuffling. Let me know if I'm having any sort of streaming issues. I see there's some messages there about breaking up. Hopefully the stream will even out. If it was going to break up at a certain time, this was a good time to do it. So just give me a confirmation once you can hear me again. I'll take my time in shuffling and getting everything laid out. All right. Let me just straighten up the cards here. My internet should be okay right now. I don't want to do anything to break this feed. So give me a second. You said everybody's okay. Pixelation should be all right. As long as you can hear me, we'll just deal with it. It's the full moon energy wreaking some havoc on technology. It's just part of technology sometimes. So I appreciate it. And I have one of my moderators keeping me posted. So let me know if it gets better. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the messages and just hope Spirit works with me. All right. So your first card here in the catalyst is Sweet William, one of my favorites actually as a kid. It's a very fragrant card. And it says, grant me a single smile. I like that. Sweet William has small form and aspect bright like a sweet flower that yields great joy of delight. All right, so size doesn't matter. This is something when it comes to personality, age, and I would even say sort of like stature. Never underestimate someone because of where they come from, what their status is. This is saying, that someone may come out of like almost like a wallflower. I feel like there could be someone that's around you that has a great ability to bring something beautiful. Oh, good. You're clear now. Good. All right. So let me recap here. We have Sweet William, and this is a very small flower. I remember it would come out in the springtime. It actually does smell sweet. And I think it's a biennial, or it's not quite a perennial, but you can reseed it and it will come back. But the plant is cool because it's small but beautiful. So there could be someone that's playing a smaller support role in your life. This could be like an administrative assistant. This could be a parent that's in the background. This could be a friend that is always there for you. The role feels small, but the size of the role doesn't matter. It's actually really important because that person is bringing a sense of joy, of beauty, of sweetness to your life. Take a moment this month to celebrate the little people in your life, the smaller sort of contributors, because they're amazing, right? And so I think that one of the things that you could do is just express gratitude, saying thank you, spending some time with people that always assist you, and they're there to kind of support you, lift them up as well. And yeah, gratitude and paying attention to those little ones. I think that's the important thing here. Also, I look at my little dog, I think of children, I think of the small ones in the world as well. So the ones that are less fortunate or have less of a voice, this is making sure that you also put some sweetness and some kindness towards those, especially because it goes so much further. You need to support and lift up those that don't have as much. So there's actually a little role here of service or being aware of people around you. So I like that a lot. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the center card. Everyone can hear me okay? I just want to check real quickly. It looks like you can, and you can see me okay now, yes? I'm assuming, because I'm not seeing anything to the contrary. All right, so we have the Four of Pentacles at the center, and this one goes in a really nice connection to what we just talked about. Look at that little doe, and it's a little frightened, it's a little bit scared. So when we're looking at karmic energy this month, the thing that you want to be focusing on is creating a safe space. Opening something up so that, thank you so much, I've got all the yeses. Opening something up so that it feels like you can hold, I talked earlier about holding space in your life or in general. This is making sure that if you've started a new relationship, if you want to if you're starting a new job, if you're starting anything new, you're being kind to yourself, you're being kind to other people, especially if you've hired someone, whatever it is, whether you're entering in or someone else is entering in, easy does it. And don't hold back. This is often a card where in the Four of Pentacles, typically we have the coin overprinted right over the heart. So what you want to do with this is make sure that you are not holding back and giving less than, or sometimes if you're a small business person, you could be undercharging for your services and not maybe being able to make a profit. I know a lot of folks out there had no choice because of the pandemic, and even with the reopening, like taking a loss is better than no profits at all. But what I want you to make sure that you're doing is speak up, talk to people, let them know how they can support you. Let them know how important it is right now to do just that. Open up, basically. We're going to see an opening when it comes to finances, resources, and self-worth. Self-worth is so important in relationships because if you hold back or think that you're less than, then you start to attract people that take advantage of you. And I don't want that to happen. So one of the karmic lessons this month is to speak up, to ask for things that you deserve, especially when you're at a job or in a relationship where you've given more like, 80-20 or 70-30, no more math. I can only do a couple of numbers with that. But wherever you're at on that, it should be closer to 50-50. Maybe you take turns sometimes with one partner doing more than the other, but it has to even out. Opening up your heart. Again, we have the Queen of Cups here. One thing that's interesting with this, and we talked about it before, is the salmon swims upstream. So it shouldn't feel like an uphill battle in a relationship. It should feel, it should feel like both people are wanting the same thing. So one reason that I don't do readings that focus on will he or she come back is That's the wrong question. The question is, why are you fixated on the person who already walked away? And so this one would tell me that you don't want to force it. It should flow. This is different. The reason the fish is swimming upstream is so that it can basically spawn more salmon. This is more about having children. But in a relationship, it's about not forcing it. I think fighting for what matters. So sometimes this can be going against the flow. So if you are dating someone and your family or friends don't approve, then yeah, you take the heat. That's okay. That's when you decide to go against certain energies. But when it comes to the person that you're with, or the person that you're working for, or that you're friends with, it should be a lot easier. You should both be swimming upstream together if that's the direction you want to go, but not just one doing all the work. So equity, balance, and not underestimating oneself or giving away oneself too much, right? The card was also on its side here as I'm reading it because it's crossing the Four of Pentacles. So I actually could read this as things are going to start to get a lot easier now, right? So it feels like you're on a better trajectory now, and it should start to get more even when you also speak up and allow it to be so. We have the Six of Cups, which I was saying that before, like success doesn't mean being alone, and it doesn't. I feel like some of you, as you kind of go out there and decide to try something new, you will attract your own tribe. The Six of Cups is also magnetic. Lovers, Two of Cups, Six of Cups, Six of Wands, Four of Wands, they're all magnetic cards. So with the Six of Cups here, what I'm seeing here for some of you is there is a path that you have to take, that it might be the road less traveled here. But it is something that, let's imagine you might be on the other side and you're going to come out here and see this beautiful vista here. Don't be afraid to take that path less traveled, because that's also where you could meet this divine partnership. Six of Cups to me is the closest we can get to that, what we would traditionally call a soulmate. Now, what I like with this one is there's friendship. This is really what I'm getting out of this. A lot of times you see like brother, sister, or maybe young love that's displayed in this card. What I'm getting here is it feels to me like camaraderie, friendship, someone that you can lean on, someone that you can trust. It is also a card of second chances. So if you feel like there's a relationship in your life that you didn't get to say what you needed to say, or you want to say, I'm sorry, or you wish you ended it on a better note, or you just want to check in and see, how do I feel about this person now? Maybe I don't feel anything, but maybe I just need to take a temperature check and see, is there a spark? Is there something? Then give yourself that chance. Six of Cups can definitely be that second chance at something in the past. If I get the Eight of Cups, if I got the Eight of Cups, it would definitely be that. But to me, it's sort of like from the past, something coming back that you need to look at, right? All right, we've got the World here, and the World is ends and beginnings. So for some of you, something needs to step out. And by the way, you've got a couple of these. So we have Judgment, and then we have the World. So Judgment is in the environment, and the World is in the recent past. And almost every time that I read with this deck, it feels like I get this the Great Bear card. So it pops out a lot. This is a really cool Judgment card because it shows you that you're always entering into something new. There's rebirth. And I would imagine at the other end, you would see like that beautiful Aurora Borealis there. So this is about understanding how you got there. This is about knowing that it's not over once something is finished. The cards reversed. It's basically telling me that you already know something's done, but you haven't accepted it yet. So it feels to me that there is a relationship that has played out, but you're holding on. It could be, again, for those of you in a job, this happens so much. I think this is something everyone can relate with, even if you're not really focused on relationships. This could be you and your boss, you and your coworkers. It may be played out, but you're still holding on for some reason. There could be someone in your life, an old friend, or it could be a love interest where it's just sort of like, I don't know why I'm still talking to this person. I'm not getting anything out of the exchange. I'm forcing it sometimes, or they're forcing it. Let's let it go a little bit and see what happens. Let's see if we miss each other. Let's take a breather. So it feels to me like there is a natural fizzling out or ending of one thing, which will open up something new. You've got to let go before the new comes in. Okay. So are you grounded right now? Because with the World card reversed, especially since we have a tree in this one, I think one of the things you want to focus on is the grounding. Notice the 4 seasons that we see here. We see like spring, summer, fall, winter. I never actually really noticed that. It's very cool in the tree. So doesn't matter if you're northern or southern hemisphere, the change in energy that we just experienced with the equinox is still very much present. The moon, which symbolizes ends and beginnings, is still very much present. So don't get lost in worrying. Don't get lost in general. Remember, you're finding your path here. And I feel like it's important to ground yourself. If you feel uprooted right now, if you feel like everything's topsy-turvy, that's okay. You can transplant yourself. Just figure out where next. Where can I go to thrive more, right? We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse in the crowning position. So as an aspect of yourself, this is about deciding to go back to school, to invest in yourself, to explore within. It's taking. And for some of you, you may have been in a place where you've been giving too much. If you feel like others are taking, then again, it's kind of like potato, potato. That's the same. If you're giving too much or if others are taking too much, I feel like the message here is to say no, to have better limits, and to start to put the investment back within. Fill up that battery. We look at our phone all the time and mine's charging on the side. Make sure the battery's going back up to 100%, right? For some of you, as you're going through this, there is this sense of mourning that has to happen as you let go. So I definitely feel like some of you are on the precipice of needing to release. But I love the fire that I see in this Three of Swords here, because what I see is a chance to, this is burning through the karma and it's done. So there are some cards in tarot that kind of act almost like a full stop, a period, or like a blank page. So what I feel like this is doing is it's giving way to a brand new tomorrow. So you've got to let go. It's not worth it. Not worth the pain, not worth the suffering. I started reading, maybe I'll use this for the next spread. It's over to the side, the Little Prince. I was going to use a different one, but I'll use the Little Prince because in the Little Prince deck, the Three of Swords actually has this rose that's growing through the thorns of the Three of Swords. So I would just like to remind you that sometimes through loss and diversity, you can go into the sort of growth phase. So, and like when it comes to roses, you have to prune, you have to pull back. So what I see is that there's something that needs to leave in order for growth to happen. The other cards are very good, so let's talk about them. When we have your ego card, your self card, we have the Page of Arrows here, Page of Swords, little tiny wren coming through. And so some of you are finding your voice again. And it's interesting, I think back to my own journey when I left my job. There's some videos from, I took most of them down. Most of my videos started 2016. I started this channel in 2013. I started doing monthly readings in 2015. But I was very quiet at the beginning because part of being in a corporation, it's almost like the old, it's like the parents when they used to say children are supposed to be seen and not heard. You learn to mute your voice. So one of the things I had to learn to do was to find my voice again. So for some of you, when I see this little wren, it's about, no, you get to speak up. It's time to speak up. And if they don't like what you're saying, then it might be time to go somewhere else. I really want you to find your voice, speak your truth. The other thing here is to listen. Is your partner listening to you? Or are you listening to them? A successful page has to listen as much as it speaks. So, but I want to see a strengthening. This is a cute little bird, but we don't want cute. We want strong. We want powerful. We want impactful. So I think it's important this month to find, to exercise, and to honor your voice. All right, we have the decision that you've made, but maybe not fully understood or accepted here. Judgment, reverse means it's happened, it's in the environment. Some of you don't get a choice with it, right? Okay, so because it's happening environmentally, we've been in this for a year, actually, the Judgment card reversed in the environment. There's been things that have been, basically, we don't have a choice. You have to do this, you can't do this, this is what's happening, and you kind of feel like, okay. This is saying that, it's on some levels, we're coming to a close with this, but on other levels, you have to decide, what am I going to do with this? How can I adjust? How can I thrive? How can I work in this sort of curvy, it's almost like hydroplaning. You have to figure out how not to lose control. So accept what has happened around you and decide what to do about it. And then if you've made a decision, accept, integrate, and act upon the decision. That's it. Action is necessary. So no more rumination, no more hesitation, no more sort of getting in your headspace. It's time to move on. With respect to relationships, karmically speaking, this is karma that is done. This is death and rebirth. So what I see with this is you might have a key relationship in your environment with someone that you lived a lifetime with before. The thing is, this lifetime, it feels like it's mostly done. So you don't have to keep hanging out or hanging around that person once it's finished. And so I would say, when we look at what the karma is about, for some of you, there could have just been this feeling of pain from the past. So maybe there was unrequited love, or again, it's always like chasing, running. I don't think you need to do that. I think that at this point, you can express how you feel, speak your mind, and let them show up however they want to show up. Give them some space. And that's the message there. As we're looking here at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have another page card here, a page of cups. We've got the otter, a little bit more playful, a little bit more adventurous. And I would say with this one, it's time to dive in as well. I kind of was talking about the turtle earlier this month, I think it was right before Aquarius, so Capricorn, I think. I have to go back and look. But anyway, with the turtle, it's a similar message. These creatures are not purely aquatic. They kind of live on land and in water. But with this, it's time to get your feet wet. So whatever you're holding back on a little bit, it's time to go out there and it's time to give it a shot. Put your heart into it. Have some fun. Don't take yourself so seriously. And in the relationship, same sort of thing would be coming through for that as well. Okay. Final card in karmic relationships this month, we have the 7 of swords here, or arrows in this deck. The interesting thing with this one is, it's so interesting. They have a different view on this one. It's insecurity. I never really would look at it that way, but I guess I could, because it's doubt, and doubt would actually pull in the behavior of the 7 of swords, which is oftentimes getting away with things or taking more than one should. So when you're insecure, when you feel like you're not worth it, people will say, okay, if that's what you think, then I've said this before, and it's really important. If somebody says, I'm not a good person, or you're too good for me, or you shouldn't do this, or whatever it is, listen to them. But also understand that when you broadcast, or when you feel it, they're listening to you. So I want you to broadcast differently. I'm encouraging you. You get to do whatever you want, free will. But I'm encouraging you to think that I am worthy. I am worth it. I can do this. I deserve success, wealth, love, abundance in all the highest forms. I am capable. I am the creator. You were the magician. That was the last card that we looked at in the other deck. So when you start to activate in the I am plus something positive, then you get rid of this. And then people won't act like the 7 of swords. So this one's really interesting in that it goes to the core of the matter rather than the behavior. So the normal 7 of swords shows the behavior, which is sneaking around, getting away with stuff, cutting your losses. And this one is showing how it all started because of insecurity. So deal with this, and 7 of swords is gone completely. Showed up in the same location as the other one. So karma is actually affecting some of what's going on in your life right now, other aspects, because the other one was a general reading. So yeah, really interesting. Change within, and the behavior around you and people that you love or maybe don't love is going to change as well. And I've definitely seen that happen in my own life. Okay. Let's look at karmic relationships and how they affect your health. We have focused intention. Think about what you desire, set your sights high, and expect the best outcome. We have Diana here. She's reversed. And the important thing with this, I kind of feel like there's a little bit of a message of like the high priestess energy here. So when you are able to sort of see it, feel it, manifest it, you realize you have that power. But sometimes we don't realize we're always manifesting even some of the pain and hiccups in our life. So this is saying focus the intention on the positive. Think about what you desire, set your sights high as possible. Expect the best possible outcome, which is what I wrote as well. So love it. So yeah, there's a little bit of energy here reminds me of Artemis with the arrows. So nice lunar energy, which makes sense. Okay, and then just kind of looking here at the relationship, because I'm going to look one more time. Well, this is health. So the other thing with health, how your karmic relationships could be affecting your health this month. It's really interesting. If you hold too much of the pain of the past or the present, it starts to actually affect cardiac health. So you might be feeling things like blood pressure, increased blood pressure, or tension, hypertension. So please do what you can to release that. Breathing, yoga, exercise, talking to people. Your heart is actually taking the heaviest load when it comes to all of this. So I think that you've got to be kind to yourself and release this as soon as possible, okay? So there you go. The other thing here that we're looking at with health and karmic relationships with that, the same way that they can push down, they can also lift up. This is very playful. Otters are very playful. So I think that if you can get rid of whatever it was that's kind of weighing you down, it can also kind of make you come alive, right? Remember what we saw earlier in the general was the Two of Cups. So when you get playful, and also the, was it the Prince of Cups in the center? I think there was a Knight card in the center. So we got the Two of Cups and the Knight of Cups. What I see here is that love, play, fun, joy, all of these things can actually help your health as well. So have some fun, hang out with the people that are bringing that energy, and release the others. Let's look at wealth and how it's affecting your wealth this month. The same. So if you're not happy, why are you there? That's the message here. Follow your bliss. The card is reversed, and we have this judgment card reverse, which is sort of like, I know I should do this, but I'm not doing this. The other thing is, give yourself permission to do something wonderful. So if you know what makes you happy and you're holding back, don't. If there's an idea to start a business, to do something new, to speak up, to try whatever, to go out on a limb, basically, this is saying, dream it, do it. Okay? Pretty simple, actually, with karmic energy. And either someone will allow you to do that, or you're going to move beyond that if they won't, because we saw the balloon card before. You've got to move together or move on. Health, wealth, love, intimacy, but the card is reversed. So is your partner pulling away? Are friendships feeling more strained? It's really the Queen of Cups card here. Are you forcing things? Shouldn't have to force it. Should be easy. If it's not, hold space. See if the other partner is afraid, because this is actually a fear card, and you put that with intimacy. One of the things that might be happening is maybe there's different comfort or experience levels. There could be someone that's afraid to open up, afraid to share, afraid of intimacy. So that's the key component in karmic relationships this month, is saying what you feel or acting on what you feel. So you might have to be the one that takes the initiative to talk about what's kind of like right in front of your nose, but maybe they're not willing to deal with. All right, and then finally here, we have taking care of your needs here. We have the wolf, which I love in the outcome here. And with relationships, to me, this also carries connotations of the moon card, and this is following your instinct. Okay, so does it feel right? Also, looking at the moon card, looking at the wolf, you can't change someone. You can inspire change within. You can watch the growth and development. With exception to children, I would say most adults, they have to want to change to have the change happen. So follow your instincts and don't try to make someone that they're not. Allow them to show up the way they need to show up. And then when they say something, say, thank you, you're right. Whatever it is, even if it's something that you didn't expect, like I said, if they show up and say, I don't deserve you, okay, then work on yourself and get back to me when you think you do, is what I would probably say. Or I don't see it that way, but I'm not going to force this. That's something we've got to look at it now. Now that you said it, we've got to look at that. Why do you think that? So instead of trying to convince them, ask them questions. Where did that come from? How long have you felt that way? What do you need to change in order to feel there's more equity? Have I done anything to make you feel that? I would actually go into an inquisitive sort of mode if someone shows up that way. And then I would trust them. I would say, okay, well, keep talking to me. Thanks for your honesty. And I need time to think about this. And then figure out what you want to do. It's never easy, but I have actually had people in my life, and they were right, where they said, I'm not good, or you're too good for me, or I'm not ready for this. And every time someone has said any one of those things, it was absolutely 110% true. And so now I listen to people, and it's not harsh. It's really, really important. If people show up let them. If they say, I'm not ready to get married, or I need some time apart, or this doesn't work, or it's not working, whatever, you don't want to convince them that it is. You want to hear why it isn't. And then you want to see how it triggers you and what you want to do about it. So this is potentially the most important card that I pulled, because this is why the Judgment card is reversed. Someone is showing up, but you're having a hard time seeing it. Or you know what to do instinctually, but you're having a hard time following through on it. So the karma this month is about allowing people to be who they are, even if that means letting them go. Because that's going to mean that you're going to be stronger in the long run. Because when we rewind back to my previous spread, the Two of Cups is in the near future. So don't let something hold you back from the Two of Cups, right? Powerful messages. I want to be cognizant of time. We always go about 10 minutes over on these, 10 or 15, because there's a little bit extra coming through. So I'm not going to review this. You can always go back and listen, and I'll have timestamps later. Let's move along to the chance to make new cycles. We're out of relationships. We're out of looking at the month, generally speaking. Now I want to focus on what opportunities are in front of you. What else is out there? There's more than just relationships. There's more than just love. So we're going to focus on that next. And it's sort of a continuation of that first portion of the reading. So I'm going to use the new deck that I was talking about. So this is the Little Prince, based on the book. Really beautiful cards in this as well. We have the beautiful the Fool here on the back, which I think is really appropriate for this particular full moon. So let's give everything a shuffle and see what opportunities are coming through. For those of you asking about Apollo, he's right off to the side. He's not always on camera. We'll bring him up at the end, but he's sleeping at the moment. All right, so opportunities, new cycles, changes. Have you seen it's the Seven of Swords. I'm seeing a trend here. Like, this is kind of ridiculous, but we'll go through it, but it's very interesting. It's the only thing blocking you is that. We're going to do something different with this particular spread. I'm going to go to an oracle deck, and we're not going to do all the other expanded stuff. We're going to do past, present, future for this one, and I'll pull it off to the side, and this will function kind of like catalyst, because we don't need to keep looking at those other aspects. So we're going to start off with past, present, future influences when it comes to making and breaking cycles. The first is a confirmation that we're looking at this for a reason. So we have the Death card here, and it says, I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings, which is something that I talked about earlier this month. I can't remember which sign I said that for, but I literally kind of put that out there. So ends are beginnings. In order for the new love, a new job, and something better to come in, we have to walk through the energy of death. In the book that's behind me, the luminous ones, one of the key characters is death or transformation. And the name that I gave it was the nexus, or the one that stands at the nexus of ends and beginnings. So transformation, there's a change on the horizon here. So we'll look at it, but there is something that's leaving, something that's joining in. What you're having a chance to do this month, first and foremost, is change. Let's just change this to the word change. Change and transform. This brings about abundance, and it gives you permission to be happy. With the abundance card here, it says, I'm a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. Diana, in the previous spread, in Karma, was telling us that when we were looking at health. So it's healthy, and it's right for you to kind of step into that abundance. And then this happiness card here is saying, I'm aware that being happy means that I'm on the right path. We saw all of those cups cards that came through, the Two of Cups, the Knight of Cups, etc. So a change for the better, for more abundance, and ultimately knowing that that means that you can be happy. A job, a relationship, a life path, it doesn't have to be one that is devoid of it. In fact, it's more powerful when the happiness is there, okay? So that's the energetic message, past, present, future. Happiness is on the horizon for you. Abundance is ready. It is, because we saw it in the center. We had the 9 of Pentacles, I remember it, kind of crossing the center card in the first spread, but a change is necessary. So let's take a look at what needs to be changed. I think it's pretty clear because it came smack dab in the center, and it's almost like it slapped me in the third eye. So we have, surprise, surprise, the 7 of Swords yet again. Third time, this time it's smack dab in the center. It's not in the final card because we're looking at the heart of the matter here. And we've got the Devil card on top of it, which is also pretty clearly saying, release this and you're free. The Devil is just the Lover's card, but in a lower frequency. There are codependencies, there are strings attached, there are things that are holding you back, right? And this is what we have to get past, are those codependencies. Let them go. And with the 7 of Swords, a couple of things that I want to say with this one. No more looking back. When I'm looking at him, kind of looking over his shoulders, many of us have learned our lessons. So if you have someone that comes back and they say that they've changed, have they really? And if you broke up or separated or distance yourself from someone for a reason and they say, no, I've done the work, be very careful. I think they have to prove it. They're going to have to earn your trust again. And with this card, I would say the timing now doesn't seem like it's right. Otherwise, what we're looking at here is just being honest with yourself. Cutting losses isn't always the worst thing. Get what you can from a situation and then release and then let go. Ultimately, releasing is this. So I think the main thing to release is someone or something in your life that is not healthy, didn't show up the way that it should have, or consistently fails at basically doing what it's supposed to. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty clear for most of you. Just be honest with yourself. All right. That's the main thing that needs to shift, is that as we look at what you're kind of sitting on here, we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is gorgeous here. So with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, some of you now are deciding, all right, it's interesting now, maybe having more time or energy. I want to do something for me. I want to put something, again, there's an investment energy that seems to be important this month. You may have an opportunity that's been put in front of you, but you weren't ready for it. The card was reversed. Maybe you sat on it. That's what I saw with this, even though there's no person on it. It feels like you had something and you just let it sit. So maybe it was an opportunity to work for someone. Maybe it was someone that was interested in you. Maybe you put off going to school or starting a business or moving. There was something that you were invested in, but you didn't follow through, or you've been waiting. So now the universe is saying, why are you waiting? Why don't you do it now? Now seems like a good time, okay? We have the Empress card in reverse. Only you and you alone can do it. Don't let somebody else stand between you and your plans for something. I like the Empress card when it's upright because it is fertile, it is powerful, it is authoritative. But when it's reversed, it's someone stepping in and sometimes questioning your authority, your ability to do something. So don't let that happen. And she's real close to the 7 of Swords. Sometimes people are afraid of you succeeding. This could be a friend or boss or coworker because they don't want to be left alone, right? That's not the way to work. That doesn't make sense. So if there's someone in your life that's holding you back or holding on, these are the strings that you have to cut. Even though I said I wasn't going to talk about relationships, it's coming through anyway. All right. We have the 7 of Wands here. Fight for things that you care about. Know that you have the capacity to do anything that you put your mind to. Things may be rough, but you're going to be able to get through this at this point in time. It's on the road, or it's en route to abundance, because you're one step away from the 8 of Wands, which things are going in the right direction. 9 of Wands, which means that you're almost done, and 10 of Wands is graduating. So I feel like push through this. This is very close to the message that you're tracking in the right direction, hopefully, and people are tracking you. So don't let go right now, okay? Limits are so important with this card. If someone's pushy in your life, push back. If you've let people get away with things in the past, this is about putting a new line in the sand. so that somebody can understand, okay, this person means business now. 8 of Cups. I mentioned if I saw the 8 of Cups, it would show a return. We saw the 6 before, we have the 8 now. So the 8 is making and breaking cycles, such a great card to have for this particular type of reading. You can do anything you put your mind to. If there was someone, okay, here's the important thing. You're very ready now, because if we jump start to the end, we have the Queen of Pentacles. I'm excited about the year ahead, and everything else on the right is really, really good. But it feels to me like the universe has presented a potential, it's kind of like a booby trap. It wants to see if you've gotten through something. So we have the 7 of Swords and the Devil at the center, which is saying, are you sure you learned your lesson? Are you sure you don't want to go back? Back to that job, back to that relationship, back to that habit. Maybe some of you got past some sort of an addiction or something. Let it go, because you want to walk away from that cycle and you want to walk toward something better. So there is a trigger is a better word. There's a trigger that's popping up this month, and it's a question from the universe. And the answer is, I've learned my lesson. No, I don't need that again. No, I'm not doing that road again. I have something else that I have in store. And so don't fall for whatever that is. Be stronger, be smarter, be awake, be aware. Plant some positive seeds here. We have the 3 of Wands. It's kind of like a springtime energy with this, actually. He's raking after, or it could be autumn, but he's raking and making room here for something better, cleaning up a little bit. What I like with 3 of Wands is it usually portends positivity. The work has already been done, and you're starting to see a return on it. Notice how in this one, the 3rd wand is the rake itself. You've got the trees that he's sort of like planting, and he's doing the work. And I love an active 3 of Wands. You know that. There's some fire here. We see some food. So I see sustenance, growth, and he's taking action. Rather than waiting for something to come to you, your ships are coming in, usually is what you see with this. Meet them halfway, go to the dock, do something else. The more active you are, the faster growth is going to happen, the more you're going to start to see a change happen, right? For people asking, this is for everyone. Anyone that's here, this is for you. This is a collective, just like the title said. All right. For the environment here, we have the 7 of Cups, exploration, brainstorming. This is a chance for you to go bigger, higher, and expand. Don't limit yourself by your imagination, by what whoever this Empress is wants to sort of kind of limit you by. Like, no more of that. Dream it, then do it. You got a lot of 7s this month. Let's look at them real quick. This one, as we saw before, can be doubt or insecurity. It's reversed. No more of that. We have 7 of Wands, limits, perseverance, pushing through. And then we have Cups, which is dreaming, exploring, imagining. So you're going to say no and release the sort of feelings of insecurity or doubt. You're going to push to complete something. You're going to keep dreaming. You're going to keep doing. You're going to keep an open mind. There's a very expansive energy with 7 of Cups. Even though it's not swords, it might as well be. A lot of times, you almost always see the cups in the air. So don't be afraid to talk to someone about some of these things, to clear the air, to clear your mind a little bit. Knight of Wands. Things are going to start to take off. I love the sort of Olympic feel here where he's carrying the torch, lighting the lamps here, spreading the good word. As we saw before, I believe it was Knight of Wands as well. This is your chance to walk the walk. It's not just about talking the talk. So your actions speak louder than your words. So when it comes to opening up opportunities, just keep doing it, keep showing up, and that's going to create a positive shift or change. And then we have a fantastic card in the outcome, Queen of Pentacles. So this is really, really good for development, for growth. Just a sidebar, since we have the Empress and the Queen here, if you're trying to start a family, this is definitely a good card, or trying to adopt or trying to launch a project. These 2 cards together, this is showing something that didn't work, and this is showing that something that did. The thing that you have to consider is it may not be the way that you think. So maybe you were trying to have a baby, but maybe an adoption makes more sense. Maybe you were trying to launch a project through one medium, but another one makes more sense. This is thinking it through and thinking, okay, there's a better way to do it. There's another way to do it. And it may be even more fulfilling or more profitable or better than you thought. So really like this, actually. We got a constant message with 7 of Swords this month. Be secure in yourself. Don't hold back. It's important to kind of look at something like that and stop it when it starts. So if somebody is consistently showing up and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you have to speak up. If you're not being honest with yourself, you have to stop that. And if you're selling yourself short, you want to release that as well. So the cycle that you're starting this time, it's a rebirth was what I'm seeing here, and a delivery of something that you've been waiting or hoping or sort of sitting on for a while. So we actually see it coming to fruition. When we look at something like this, it's not just April. We're looking at maybe a quarter of the year or half of the year. So I think you're on a really good cycle right now. And if we look in a diagonal at the Ace, at the Eight of Cups, at the Queen of Pentacles, it's going back to something and finishing it. So your cycle right now is to let go of something old that isn't working, the Seven of Swords and the Empress reversed, to open up to the abundance that wants to come in, as illustrated by the Eight of Cups, by the Ace of Pentacles, by the Queen of Pentacles. And please be happy. I think this is so key. We're not on this planet to feel a sense of pain or suffering or loss all the time. We pull in these triggers sometimes just to understand ourselves, but it's not necessarily something that we have to feel all of the time. So we're going to do something unique today, but before I get into the meditation, I know I might have some people that are new here. We have two more things that we're going to do. We're going to meditate, and then I'll pull a final card at the end. So if I happen to miss anything today, the final card will be something that you want to ask me, but we can't put it all in the chat here. So think of a question as I'm going through this, and then after we do the meditation, I'll pull a card and you'll get an answer. I'll try to look at it as a yes, no, and then I'll also go a little deeper into it. First of all, thank you so much. There's been a lot of positive support here. So thank you for everyone who's done a super chat or applause. You can continue to do the applause afterwards. If you're brand new, hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, and put a comment when this is on replay. Your connection to the video and your sort of ability to just interact with it helps it be discovered. And recently that's actually helped me get a little bit further out there. So any engagement that you can do with it, it's so helpful. It doesn't require anything but a couple of keystrokes, and I really appreciate it. If you want to learn a little bit more, see a picture of the cards that I wrote earlier, you can follow me on social media. It's always my full name preceded by the @ sign, so @ Nicholas Ashbaugh, on Instagram, Facebook, of course, here on YouTube, TikTok, Goodreads, Patreon. There's been some people out there that have been trying to put underscores and saying it's me. It's not. This is how it's spelled. This is what it is. I actually have a check mark on YouTube and on Facebook, so that'll help you. You can go to my website too, which I pinned earlier. And then I'm @ Ashbaugh on Twitter. I post pictures of all of these cards on the social media platforms. I might start putting them on my website too, but in the meantime, you can go to those social media platforms and see it, and I recap everything there as well. My website is nicholasashbaugh.com. Just another quick disclaimer, I will never message you directly on any social media platform and ask for money or anything. That is someone who is an impersonator. One last thing you can do here is click join. Sometimes I do Q&As. I'm not doing that today, but when I do, I take questions from folks that are members, and sometimes I will put like, if I'm going to do something new, I'll ask input from you as well. So members get a little bit more access. So that's helpful. If you want to buy my book, it's The Luminous Ones, and it's available on my website. All right. For the meditation today, let's see. I really want to help you release cords because of the Seven of Swords that came up so much. So we're going to do a quick meditation where I'm going to help you basically push through. We'll use solar energy or lunar. Yeah, we're going to use the sun. I want to go to the source because what I saw with the Seven of Swords was source energy. So I'm just going to blast out light really quickly in this meditation. Then I'm going to look at one more card, and we can take a look at your question, whatever it is. So the question can be whatever you want. Hold it in your mind as we meditate. Meditation will be 2 minutes, and I'll pull one more card, and then we'll be done for today. So stick around so we get to that last word in just a moment. For the meditation, imagine that you are watching the sun rising. You're standing at the edge of the water. You're looking out at the sun as the day is beginning. And I want you to feel this sense of hope and opportunity. Remember that one of the things that we saw today was that you deserve to be happy. And if there's something that you want to let go of, breathe the energy of the ocean. As you breathe in, imagine that you can feel the wave. You can feel it, see it, hear it. So you can touch it almost like temperance, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the land. But then as the wave comes through, you feel that rush of water against your ankles, but you also can hear the sort of sine wave and feel the energy go over top of you. This is going to clear away what you don't need in your life. Imagine that if you were holding on to any relationships that you don't want, the energy of the wave, the sound of the wave is going to push it away. And as you breathe in, you're going to be pulling in the power from the ocean. Those waves start out like miles before they get to the shore. So you're going to pull in this sense of power, almost like Artemis. You're going to pull at the energy of the ocean and say, I can do this. On the exhale, you're going to give back what you don't want. You're going to let the ocean take it and break it down. You can imagine that you are letting go of people and just kind of sending their energy or the thoughts or the connections back into the water, back to source. And with each breath that you take, you're pulling back your power. You're also going to get some of the energy of the ocean. As you're doing this, focusing on the sun in the distance, feel your own heart open up and go bright. And imagine that we're just going to pull in the energy of like golden sunlight. It's going to start in the solar plexus. It's going to move through the heart. The heart's going to move it through the body. And as you breathe, each and every breath is going to make you higher and brighter and lighter than you were before. And if there was anything holding you down, holding you back, or trying to get away with something, it's going to move away. It can't exist with this high frequency, with this high light. So let's meditate for a moment, and then we'll look at your final card for the day. Just see your light growing as we do this. And for those of you that are happy, just be happier. I'm reading this. So if you feel like you have everything you want, share your light with others. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale. Imagine for a moment your heart, your soul, your energy could rise high above and take a look at everything around you. Keeping that vista, that sort of view in your mind's eye, come back down through your crown chakra and integrate back into your body. Rub your hands together, put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Whatever goals, whatever aspirations you have, remember, you are worthy. Don't hold back. Don't second guess yourself. Doubt attracts the Seven of Swords, and we're done with that, right? We are done with that. We're going to pull a final card today. I want you to think of something that has been heavy on your mind, that you've been wanting a question answered. If you're just joining now, it's fine. You can watch the replay later, but think about your question now. What's going on? What did you think when you clicked the video today that you wanted some insight on? Hold it in your mind. You don't have to say it. And I'm going to tune in, and I'm going to do it in two sort of forms here. We're looking at it as a yes, no, and then also as a deeper sort of question. And this card volunteered. So we're going to go with what we see with the Six of Wands here. So the answer, if this was a yes, no, is a yes. It's a resounding yes, actually. A yes plus plus. Six of Wands means success. Now the Six of Wands is upright here, and notice how the people are in the periphery are kind of faded out. And it also feels to me like in this particular card, she's surrendering a bit to higher purpose, higher light. It's almost like this moment of saying, I've already succeeded. I've already done what I needed to do. It doesn't matter. This stuff can fade away. So you're not doing it for the applause. You're doing it for the sense of accomplishment, your soul path completed. So for some of you, that's already happened or is happening. For the rest of you, it's a reminder to put a lot less into the people and a lot more into you and into your purpose. But if you're looking at, can I do it? Yes. Should I do it? Probably, but focus on why you're doing it. Because sometimes we do things in order to please others. And if that's the case, the answer would be no. Do it because you want to do it, because it brings happiness, because success without happiness is basically stagnation. Because if this isn't happening, then it's no longer rebirth, or it's no longer, shifting for the positive. It's a sense of stagnating. It's empty. So we want happiness has to be a part of this. So my question back to you is, are you happy and are you ready? And does this work for you? And how is this helping you? If the answer is something positive, then yes, go for it. Okay. But Six of Wands is fantastic. Some of you may also be called to do something for the greater good, especially for those of you that might be retired or just want to do something philanthropic, easy for you to say. With the Six of Wands, it's about giving back and making a difference with that. And it'll be well received. Just make sure that it's in the form that you really want to make it be. You don't have to do something for someone else with the Six of Wands. Do it because it's right. Okay. And that brings today to a close. It was so great to be here today. And one thing that I want to remind you is if I'm going to be doing the newsletter over the next couple of days. So if you haven't already signed up for my newsletter, now is a great time to do that. I'll be announcing the upcoming dates in my forthcoming newsletter, and I'll put it on social media probably by Monday or Tuesday as well. I should be starting actually at the end of this week as well. So it'll be either Thursday or Friday. The next group of videos will be beginning. And if you like the collectives, I may do a couple a month. I may do a mid-month checkpoint and an end-of-month checkpoint. So if you enjoy these and would like to see maybe 2 a month instead of just 1, let me know in the comments below. Also in the comments below, let me know of any things that you might like me to explore in future collective readings. I do read every comment, and I appreciate the feedback. And if it was your first time, check out some of the sign-by-sign readings that I also did. This is in a playlist. You can look at the other ones that I release. It's on my main channel. Thanks so much to my 2 moderators, Maria and Dakota, for sticking around. I know this was a little longer than usual. Same thing to everybody here. I always enjoy these, and they're different every month. So I usually only announce what it's going to be the day before or a couple days before, because I have to wait to receive messages. So much love and light to everybody. Have a fantastic April. Have a fantastic spring or fall, depending on which side of the equator you're on. And enjoy the full moon. Remember, this is a time to go into the things that trigger you a little bit and learn from them and plan ahead so that this can be a really great month ahead. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again. And you can watch this immediately after on replay. Bye-bye. Oh, I'll pull up Apollo. I know you guys wanted to see him at the end. Sorry. So we'll close with Apollo here. Yes. All right. Much love and light. He's just waking up from a nap, so I'm going to take him for a walk. And thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.